I think we have Suzanne on as well. All
Aloha.
right. Welcome.
Awesome. Thank you.
And you're up in Vancouver as well, correct?
I'm in a suburb of Vancouver. I'm east of Vancouver by about 40 minutes or so.
Would you like to go ahead and introduce your video that you created for us?
Yes. Before I start, I just want to say I love ballet. I feel like I'm back in Hawaii. I had an amazing time in day one, just watching the forum yesterday with the growers, the researchers, the breeders. What an amazing story they told. A very important story to tell, to share with us. If we didn't know those background stories, we would have no idea what you guys are having to deal with. HFNA plays a big part in that and supporting you guys. And so thank you so much for sharing that story. My story today is, of course, we're going to celebrate the bride and groom, and I wanted to create a decorative table to celebrate the newlywed couple. So let's start the video.
Good morning, I'm Susanne Law, and I'm here on beautiful island of Bowen Island. We're going to be creating with Hawaiian flowers today, and you're going to see somebody very special a little bit later. Let's go check it out. We're so excited to be here on Bowen Island, and my husband's with me. He's my driver today and also my assistant. It's going to be an awesome day, and the sun is shining. We've arrived! Awesome! Let's see who's here. Hi. Hitomi! Finally, Swirly! Thank you! Thank you for hosting us.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Awesome.
It's
It's going to be an awesome time.
Yeah, I think
Your
so.
beautiful garden. So lush. Look at it. So we're here on Hitomi's deck, and we're going to get started on my creation. So thank you so much, Hitomi, for inviting me to come and be able to create today.
It's great. It's the one only sunny day
I know.
that we've had.
We lucked
and so
out.
We are really lucking out today. So
Yes.
glad that you're here.
Thank you very much for having me.
Awesome. It's going to be fun.
It is, for sure. So I was at United the other day and I picked up my temperate flowers. Picked up some gorgeous gladiolas and ilex berries, seeded eucalyptus, and some roses. They're going to be a beautiful combination with the tropical flowers. I always look for possibly a contrasting texture. I find that Hawaiian flowers tend to be really bold and colorful, so I might look for something that's a little bit softer, has more flowing lines like the seeded eucalyptus. Like these little fine ilex berries is definitely a smaller proportion to some of the bigger flowers that we get from Hawaii. And the gladiolas are unique. I might do some, I'm able to deconstruct that and create something maybe a little finer, a little tighter with that. So those are always a good combination with the Hawaiian tropicals. The color palette are going with pink, peach, and some yellow. I've got the bromeliads and they're quite vibrant, so I have to figure out a different game plan for that. But it's nice to have that darker, richer color to play off with some of the softer colors. You want to have the contrast, but also at the same time, they have to be able to play off of one another. They have to be able to work together to create a unique design. I always look for that. So if you look at contrast, like color contrast, you look at the vibrant yellow, and then you look at something really soft, and this really soft kind of peachy color. But I always look for what will connect the two of them. So I'm looking for the center of this gladiola has a little bit of yellow, so there will be that connection. So for tropicals, I have the bromeliads, I have oncidium orchids. I have hanging heliconia. And the greens, I have areca palm, the whaleback, and some monstera. Oh, and I also have these beautiful tea leaves. They're gonna be really pretty. And I got some onion root. They're always fun to play with because they definitely give a lot of texture, gives that kind of, gives that interesting line. And it's something that you can manipulate to create a structure. You can build with it, and that's always fun to have.
And what's that you got in the back there?
Oh, that is weeping willow that I actually harvested from across the street from where I live. And I went and cut it down because I wanted to help me build the structure that I'm creating today. And what's interesting is that I cut it down probably about 3 weeks ago and trimmed it all and put it into a big bucket of water, and look at, there's roots now. And all the greens that I stripped off are coming back. So that's a bonus. Got one more box from Hawaii. Let's see what's inside. Oh, look at these gorgeous anthuriums. It's always so exciting. I love this peach color. And this soft baby pink, perfect for bridal work. Well, I'm gonna get busy to process these flowers, put them in some water, and then we'll get started on our structure. Now our next step will be to build our structure. That will be an extension of this table. I'm going to create an aloha table, something that the couple, the newlywed, can greet their guests at. It can be a photo op for guests, and also they could use it for a cake table. So there's a few supplies I'll need to build a structure. I'm going to be using the weeping willow that I've cut from home, and we're going to use that to help build. I'll possibly be using this green medallino for added color. Some short bamboo skewers. Some long bamboo skewers. I have some that are loose here. And some of this willow. That'll help me build a nice strong structure. I've also created these chicken rolls that I've stitched together with this organic hemp that's been covered with beeswax. I'm going to make a few of these, and that will just help me create my form that I'm looking for. For a water source, I'm using water tubes. And to attach everything together, the organic hemp. I'm thinking about not having a lot of waste. I will be building with this to make the structure nice and strong, and everything will be attached with just the hemp. There will be no wire or plastic, so that when I clean up, I don't have to worry about that ending up in the garbage or in the compost bin. Now I'm going to demonstrate how to create the structure. So we need to start with some of this weeping willow that I've stripped most of the foliage. So let's just get a couple of pieces to start, gathering some that's got some length to it. I don't necessarily want to have these really thin whips in there because it really doesn't add to the strength. So I'm just going to be pruning those off. Just trim the really, really soft ones off. Just going to use my pruners here and trim it off. Anything that's a little bit too soft, I'm just going to take that right off at the very beginning so I don't have to worry about binding it into the structure later. Now let's tie two pieces together. So I'm just going to start this way. Now before I do that, so let's just combine those two ends again. The weeping willow is quite flexible, so it'll help me get started quite quickly. And I'm just going to add these two pieces. And what I like to do is, instead of actually tying, I make a loop, and I'm going to just thread those two ends into that loop. And then I just give it a bit of a pull so it's nice and taut. And then I'm just going to twist those ends together. And I like to use my fingers. I don't, not using any end pinchers or anything like that. Just using my hands to do that. I need a few pieces along here to give it, make sure it's nice and tight. So again, pull, and then just give it a nice twist. Now I'm going to keep going, just so that I can make sure that everything is tacked down. This wax hemp is really nice to work with. It really holds nice and tight, and it's a lot easier on your hand than wire. So at least that's a start. And I just have to measure the circumference of the table. It's approximately 30 inches. So I know I need to add another piece because it's not quite long enough. So I'm going to go do that. I've just added another piece to the two that I started with, just to give me some idea of how big I need to make this. So at first it's a little wobbly, but that's all right. The more binding that we use or do with the twine will make it nice and sturdy. So that feels pretty good there. So I'm just gonna add another one here. Again, forming that loop and feeding the end in. Let me get some of the greenery out of the way. And I'm just going to twist that on. So I still have a lot more to add on to make sure that I get it nice and tight. So with the magic of television, I've got one that's already started that will go over and sit on top of the table. Now what I need to do to stabilize and make sure that it stays on the table is I have to add more of the willow to the bottom to tighten it all up. So the tabletop will be sandwiched between a structure that's on top and on the bottom of the table. So I'll just keep working at that and make it nice and secure. I'm kind of going underneath the tabletop to make sure that that's anchored really nice and tight. It's going to take me a little bit of time to build this. This is the best way of working for me, when it's just organically happening. I'm not really overthinking it. Maybe I'm going to use some of these underneath the table just to catch the structure up top. Just going to pull them out. So I figured out this great mechanic. I'm going to use my organic hemp twine, and I'm going to thread it underneath the tabletop so that this doesn't move anymore. I feel so good that I figured that out. I've already put a piece on the bottom already, and I'm just going to probably put 2 more of these long pieces across the bottom. So the same process, I'm just going to loop it through so I know that it's nice and secure. The loop is here, and I'm going to thread this through. Make sure that it catches like this, pull it nice and tight. Now it feels way better. I know it's not going to go anywhere. So sometimes you really don't know until you have to do it, how things are going to work. So. Just going to thread it through here. Catch that. That feels, yeah, I probably need another piece, and I should be good to go. I just want to demonstrate how I made the chicken roll. I've just taken the piece and I've basically just rolled it into itself, and then I'm just stitching it with the organic twine. So just giving myself a nice long piece. You could use shorter pieces if you like, but I'm a little bit lazy. So I'm just going to just thread that through there. It's like a stitching party. You're just going to run that through there and just stitch it like that. Keep it nice and secure. And just going to roll the other one over. So you're just going to go along and stitch the whole thing together. And then we're going to attach it to our structure that's on the tabletop with a little bit more of the twine. And it's nice and secured. I've secured it in 2 places, one closer to the top and then one a little bit lower. And then that way, it'll give me something to work with when I thread the other willow and the bamboo pieces in. So now I'm just going to add these long bamboo skewers to the chicken wire to make it nice and taut. And I'm just going to feed them through from one section to the other, just weaving it through. Just going to make sure that they stay in place. Make sure you use the entire length of them. So wherever the bamboo intersects, or when it comes in contact with the chicken wire, I'm going to be adding a piece of the organic hemp. Making sure you go over and under. Same process, just making that loop. Trying to even it up a little bit. So I'm just going to finish building up my structure, and then we'll be ready to flower. Just adding some, I'm probably going to be adding some of the Torca willow to it, just give another texture and build that up a bit. So just to update you where I'm at, the structure is built. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 of the chicken wire tubes, and I've added the bamboo skewers, so it's nice and sturdy. I've just tucked in the areca palms to give me that beautiful green and lush feeling. I've put that in 3 places just to help me build out that skirt. And then I'm starting to add my gladiolas. And the gladiolas are nice and open and they've got beautiful color to them. And I'm just free stemming it. So there's actually no water tubes for these and they will last fine for the event. I don't have to worry about it lasting past that point. So all I'm doing is kind of measuring where I want it to go, laying it down, and then just threading it through my chicken wire. Just threading it up there. And then I'll take a piece of my hemp string there, just secure it in place, just to make sure. But it feels really secure already. This just to make sure. And I'm just gonna do a simple tie on here. The areca palms have been threaded through the same way. And I'm gonna stand back just to see if I like the placements. And don't be afraid to do that. Just gonna have a look to see if I like the way the colors are distributed. And they look pretty good for now. And then I think I'll add the hanging heliconia. They're absolutely gorgeous. Just gonna bring those over. They're just beautiful. So I'm just gonna, I think the game plan here is I'm just gonna thread it through my structure. Maybe just put it through like that and see if I like it to hang there. And they have long, sturdy stems that go right down to the floor there, so I don't have to worry, but I will secure it with some of the string. Just tie it in place with a simple knot. Probably tie another one down here. So I'm just tying this one down as well. These heliconias need to be showcased, so they're kind of at the very front of the design. In there, my hanging one. Let's see, choosing the right one. Put them in. I'm just going to add some water tubes, and they're going to be a water source for my Oncidium orchids. Kind of threading it through my structure because it's got lots of layers and I've got lots of attachment points. And I'm just going to bind that on there. I think the Oncidiums will look really pretty just floating above the table. Put in the Oncidiums into the water tubes, have them just floating above. There's many petals. They're so pretty and dainty if you examine every petal. There's a lot of texture in there. You don't see the flowers like that here. So it's a real treat to have them. Now I'm just going to add some pretty pink roses to the mix. I'm cutting the stems quite short. And I don't even mind that they share a water tube with the Oncidiums. Have something pretty to look at. Layering your flowers just makes things more interesting to look at because there's more depth, and that's what we're always trying to create, is a little bit more depth in our work. I think I'm going to add some anthuriums now to bridge the pink. Oh, goodness, how beautiful these are. But before I can do that, well, actually, the anthuriums are pretty good without water tubes. Just for the evening is fine. Just gonna kind of set them in. Trying to find a good spot for her. Maybe there. Just also wanted to share this. Instead of one water tube, how about 3? And I've bound it with the wax string, and I'm going to add it as a cluster. That way I have more spots to add my flowers in. So I'm going to leave the tails long on this so that I have the string to tie onto my structure. Just going to wrap it a couple of times and then twist it together so they kind of go in as a cluster. Here. I'll just do a few of these. And what's wonderful about these water tubes, I'm going to be reusing them. I'm going to retrieve them all after I'm done my design and reuse them again. So it never goes in the garbage. It's going to be reused for my next project. Look at this bromeliad, isn't it gorgeous? It looks fabulous in here. Pick up all the yellow and the orange. Give me that punch of color. All right, I think with these ones, I'm going to free stem them in. Which way do I want them? I think I want them this way just because they show their color so much better. I'm just adding the beautiful cascading texture of these seeded eucalyptus, and offsets so well with the Eureka palm. This tropical nouveau design is so popular with brides because there's so many textural plays, mixing the exotic, which are so long lasting, beautiful color, and then you mix it in with the more temperate flowers that have a softer palette, a softer texture, and they just play off one another so well. There's also a bit of a color story here too, because if you see the hanging heliconia, there's a bit of a pink in there, and it plays off really well with the violet of this rose, and then it plays into the orange as well of the bromeliads. So I'm just going to add this peachy color one here. I think I need to have some of it coming out. So let's see if I can fix that in there, and I can go through 2 layers here. That come up through here. So I'm just going to finish up this design, and we'll see you when I'm done. Well, here's the finished design. My aloha table. I love that I've added more roses to it, creating little groupings that adds that beautiful texture and the color to play off on those beautiful pinky anthuriums. and added some ilex berries to just extend it out. Because of the extension on this side, we want to make sure that it floats back over onto the other side to add some balance. The hanging amaranthus adds some interest and has some of the draping that I like. And having some of that willow just to cross over from one side to the other connects those two sections together beautifully. I've added some of the ilex on this side as well, adding some skimmia, and that's actually just from the garden. More texture. So this aloha table means that it's a celebration for the newlyweds. It's the union of two families blending so beautifully tropicals with temperate flowers. And it's a beautiful way to showcase the product, allow the couple to have a photo op with friends and family. They could use it as a cake table as well, but it just makes the lovely statement piece for the newlyweds to enjoy. I just also made a bridal bouquet, a hand-tie bouquet that plays off on the same color palette with the peaches and the pinks, a little bit of the orange and the yellow just to play it all together. And we've got the perfect lighting now to showcase this.
I'm going up, up in the air. I'm walking on gold rays. I'm going up to the clouds. I'm walking on gold rays. I'm walking on gold rays. All together, everyone, light it up and chase the sun. Shining on for everyone, go ahead and chase the sun. I'm not ever coming down. I'm going up, up in the air. I'm walking on gold rays. I'm going up to the clouds. I'm walking on gold rays.
I've been so happy to be here creating on Bowen Island. Thank you, Hitomi, for hosting me, and Colin for doing all his camera work. This aloha table celebrates the union of two families, perfectly symbolized by Hawaiian-grown flowers with temperates. Having had the chance to use organic mechanics to create this design really allows me to reciprocate what Mother Nature has given us. I will feel really good when I pack this design up and put it into the compost bin or the green bin, feeling that I haven't put anything that I shouldn't have had put into the earth. Thank you, HFNA, for inviting me back for Celebration 2021. I have had an amazing time. Until next time, aloha.
You finally arrived. Guess you're going to see next somebody very special.
Marley, what do you have going? Are those your sweet peas?
Okay, start again.
The seeded eucalyptus?
All right, welcome back.
Thank you.
Absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
How fun was that?
That was a lot of fun.
Would you design a table like that on site? And how much prep do you do back at the shop to get ready for these events? It seemed like that was such an intricate piece that you were making. Would you do that on site, or would you actually do a lot of the prep back at your shop, or how does that work?
I would certainly do some of it at the shop or in my home. I'm freelancing right now, so I would create the structure already with the willow and have those pieces ready to go. Same with the chicken wire roll. I would have that all ready to go so that when I do go on site, it's going to be a quick production, because sometimes you know what it's like to do wedding work. Sometimes you're back, they're clearing the room and you're having to go in there and create something within, half an hour to an hour. You really don't have a lot of time. So if you can do some prep work, it definitely is beneficial. Definitely. And have all your tools ready to go. I would have the wax hemp all pre-cut. My water tubes all, ready to go as well to be attached. So definitely having the prep work will help.
Tomi, you agree?
I just want to, yeah, absolutely. In fact, I mean, it was for the purpose of instruction that you got to see her doing all the process, but really the whole idea of structure building and having the setup is so that when you get on site, that gets put on and flowers just popped in. That's the whole idea behind the structure building, is it enables for the quick installment of flowers last minute.
Do you have a favorite foliage that you like to work with? Are there certain types of Hawaiian tropical foliage that's your favorite?
Well, for me, anything it's long lasting. You can't, the longevity of everything that I got from my box, with the whaleback, with the areca palm, everything that's the hala, it lasts for weeks. And what's interesting is that not only was I able to create that piece for the program, but I actually got to create again with the greenery. That was probably about 3 or 4 weeks old. Another structure outside just to play around and just to see about its longevity and value of lasting. It was amazing. So any of those foliages that we get from Hawaii is spectacular.
I definitely concur with that one, because I also have some areca palm from more than 4 weeks ago that's still looking great. I can actually make a potted plant or just made up potted plant out of it, and you'd swear it's brand new and fresh. Mm-hmm. That is really one of the best thing that we can pitch for your foliages, is they are so long lasting. It's amazing. And as you also saw that in the dried version, it has another second life. So that is something that we all value as designers, is the usability of it in so many layers, so many phases that is possible through tropical foliages. We love that about it.
Would there ever be an opportunity, do you think, for a complete package to be sent, Susanne, where something, say, everything came together for an event, where you had not only the flowers and whatever foliage that you needed, but what if a potted plant came with the order? Do you see, it's hard for me to state it, how if we had made a complete box for your event and it also included potted plants and trees and foliage that would come directly to an event, do you see something like that being possible?
Oh, certainly. You know what's great about that is that you would use whatever off the plant, you would cut into it, use the foliage for the event, and then you still have a plant. That's added value. That's amazing if we could get that. And, I mean, with the temperature here, I would stick it into our greenhouse to make sure that, it obviously loves to be in a warm environment. So just maybe having the proper care of the plant so that we know that it's going to last for years to come. I mean, that'd be amazing. I mean, I think florists would love that, to be able to just cut from that source, use it for an event or use it in their shop, and then still have the plant. Like, you could sell the plant later if you wanted to.
Actually, you know what? I think the whole thing with, if it's possible, because of course, being in Canada, we have a little bit of issue with the plant coming in. But if you guys ever work that out, it is a perfect thing to do, because I go and buy plants to be able to use with my designs. So if I can source plants as well with the cuts, I mean, that would be a dream if that's ever possible. So Josh, take note.
Yes, take note, Josh.
And at least, you know, with the mainland florists in the US, it's a real reality right now that it can be all together for installation, because we would love to use more plants in our installations.
Yeah, I would rent a lot of plants to different hotels and whatnot in the Santa Barbara area mainly. And, you know, a lot of times they needed large stuff that you could only get locally, of course, because they were, you know, giant palms and whatnot. But there were a lot of monsteras and a lot of split leaf philodendrons and a lot of, and then you'd see the foliage worked into the arrangement that were cut, you know, and I always was wondering if so I think that's a great opportunity that we all have together. And then, like you said, you could keep that plant going and use the foliage yourself from a you know, price cost standpoint. Which kind of shoots myself in the foot, but but also you could use that plant and resell that plant. I think that might be an interesting thing to look at going down the road.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's an important conversation to have, I think. You know, what can we do to support one another? Like, I'm looking at your beautiful plants in your backdrop there. Like, you can make a structure, some sort of, you know, structure, and just add to that, like flower it.
Yeah.
Like,
I love where your mind goes.
Like, you've already have the height, and you also all have the volume. It's just adding that color. Like, how amazing is that?
Mm-hmm.
To make our job easier.
Yeah, no, it helps us both, for sure. I mean, all you need is just a gridding, like a wire gridding in behind it, and we pop flowers in there where there's gaps.
Yeah.
What a great flower wall, just like that.
Just like that.
Yeah, exactly.
If only life worked like that, just like that. So we were also wondering what's in your lei.
You know, all those beautiful, like there's shells in here. There's some pods in here. I'm not sure what they are. I'm going to look them up, or someone can tell me what they are. Mm-hmm. They're absolutely gorgeous. I mean, what a beautiful keepsake for me. Like, this is going to last a long time. And once, you know, the foliage, if it, you know, once it dry, I could actually take it apart and just save all the good stuff, you know, the shells and things like that. It's amazing. Love it.
It's beautiful.
Too much fun.
Yeah. Are you seeing a trend in leis where you are at all?
We do get occasionally asked to make them in the shop when I was working in a shop, but they're, you know, as you know, time consuming and they're expensive. But if you're willing to pay, you know, the labor that's involved in making a lei, as you well know, then yeah, why not? You know, if you don't offer it to the consumer, your clients, they wouldn't know what's available. I have made them. And they're not inexpensive to make, but they're willing to pay the price for it. Why not? And then with long-lasting foliages like this, I mean, that really does, you know, help. Because, you know, foliage like this that you've cut down and added in strips and pieces really adds to the volume of the lei. So that definitely helps. It's smart thinking about your mechanics and what's available to use in order to save your labor costs to still produce what the client is looking for.
But the other thing that we should look at really is buying some leis direct from Hawaii so we don't have to make them. I like
there
that
you
idea
go.
better.
Wow.
I like
yes.
that idea.
Yes.
Yeah. There's actually a lot of Indian weddings where there's leis requested, long strands of garlands that if we're able to source from Hawaii and have it flown over overnight, wow, how easy can that be? Because that's a great sale. So lei absolutely is a great commodity in floral business.
Yeah. There you go.
I remember maybe it was pre-COVID, but I remember high school graduations were really getting, leis were getting extremely popular on the mainland, not just in Hawaii, and college graduations, and it was becoming quite a trend. I'm not sure if that stayed around since things changed so much, but anyway, I thought that would be another thing that we could all package together in one big box with the
Yes,
plants
there
and
you
the
go.
flowers. We want to be your one-stop shop, you know, so
Yeah.
you guys can have an order catalog and we'll get you everything you need drop shipped to the event. That's what our goal would be if we could
Wow.
come up with our
That'd be
dream. So,
amazing. That'd be
That
amazing.
sounds great.
yeah.
Make
So,
it happen, Josh.
okay. All right. I'll get on that tomorrow after the event. But thank you so much, Susanne. Maybe tell me any more questions on your side?
I think we pretty much covered everything, don't you?
It was beautiful. I wish I was there that day
Yeah.
to enjoy the sunshine. So.
I know it was a gorgeous day, and the thing is, we hit it dead on. This doesn't happen often because we hit the golden hour when it was the final finish. So you got to see. Did you see all the beautiful, the slow-mo pictures that seeing the sun rays through the bokeh spots in the background? I mean, that's exactly like the photographer and videographer's paradise. It was so beautiful to see.
Yes, thank you, Colin.
Yeah, it was fun to see.
Well, I think that goes perfectly with our theme of Carpe Diem today, where we're seizing the day. So maybe you could say one final thing and we'll move on to Brenna Kwan after this. So.
Well, thank you, HFNA, for inviting me back. It's been an honor to create for you again for Wedding Celebration 2021. And to all the amazing growers out there, the breeders, thank you for what you do, because if you didn't grow all that beautiful product, we wouldn't be able to use it as designers. So thank you very much.
Thank
I
you.
concur, and the fact that you guys are truly our inspiration. You guys are the growers, and again, the breeders that really have provided us with things that makes our job so exciting. So thank you guys again, all you growers.
Thank you. Mahalo.
Thank you.